Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's Monday afternoon video going to be a wee post-match review of Celtic's rather dull 1-1 draw with Rangers yesterday afternoon. That ends the 24-25 season Glasgow Rangers derby matches, and as I said, wasn't the best of game in terms of quality, passion, or good football, but 1-1 draw in a game where Celtic were missing several of their first choice 11, and in a game where there wasn't terribly much to play for from the Celtic point of view other than maintaining our dominating 17-point gap over our big rivals in second place. So in today's video, we're going to have a wee look at the key incidents, the goals, some of the stats, and also reflecting on my player ratings for the 15 players that played for Celtic yesterday afternoon, and also a wee run through of the Celtic official FC Player of the Year and Fan Players of the Year awards, which were on Sunday, and also Dyson Maida winning the Professional Footballers Player of the Year later on Sunday as well. To start with, Celtic and Rangers pretty much were going 50-50. Rangers on top for a wee bit, but Celtic managed to repel them from any real chances. There was a disallowed headed goal for Raskin, a couple of saves for Viljami Sinisalo, and quite a lot of niggly stuff in midfield, and not terribly much quality from either team. Few half chances up front for Celtic with Ida and Maida. Few half chances from corners for Carter Frickers and Scales. And it wasn't really till the very end of the first half that things started to warm up. Beautiful ball through the defence by Rio Hatate. Adam Ida was through one-on-one with Liam Kelly in the Rangers goal. Ida didn't really hit his shot that crisply, rather too close to Liam Kelly, and Kelly was able to block it. And pretty much up the other end, the ball went. Quick counter-attack by Rangers. Celtic a wee bit disorganised in defence. Ball was worked into Cyril Dessers, the Rangers' main striker. He completely outmuscled a pathetic performance by Liam Scales in the middle of defence. Nice crisp shot back across. The Viljami Sinisalo gave him no chance in the goals, and Rangers went in 1-0 up at half-time. And that error and terrible defending by Liam Scales was a recurring pattern for pretty much the whole 90 minutes. And it was a good job that Cameron Carter-Vickers had such a good game otherwise. Celtic did come out, I think, the better side at the start of the second half. Rangers really did not have much in the way of chances in the whole second half. Celtic did strike back and equalise in the 57th minute. Dyson Maida blocking an attempted clearance by Suter. Nice pass to Adam Ida. He turned well in the box, hit a good powerful shot towards the goal. The ball deflected off Suter's arm and elbow and bounced past Kelly into the bottom corner. The far side linesman put up his flag for presumably offside. Happily, VAR made the correct decision, and it clearly wasn't offside. There clearly was no foul or anything else in the lead up to the goal, and Dyson Maida was well out of the eye line of Liam Kelly in the Rangers goal, and so there was absolutely no reason to disallow the goal. And happily, Andrew Dallas, the VAR ref, allowed the goal to stand. There was a query penalty kick where Callum McGregor made a perfectly good challenge in the box on Hadji. Hadji flopped down dramatically, claiming a penalty, but clearly if there was any foul, it was Hadji on McGregor rather than the other way around, and Celtic were able to get the ball clear. In the second half, Viliame Sinasalo didn't really have terribly many saves to make, and indeed Celtic had a couple of good chances later on in the second half. And very dramatically, as we went into the 7th minute of added time, Rangers botched a throw-in on the near side touchline. Hatate hooked the ball out to Dyson Maida, who, running at great pace, got towards the Rangers box. He got the ball slightly stuck under his feet, and unfortunately, Rangers were able to clear the ball. It's a big shame because running in on his right-hand side, Johnny Kenny had done very well to keep up with Maida's run, and I think had Maida seen Kenny, it would have been a pretty easy, almost open goal for Kenny to score a dramatic 7th minute of added time derby winner. However, it wasn't to be. As I said, Celtic went into the match without Alistair Johnston and Kasper Schmeichel and Nicholas Kuhn, and of course Jota, who's out injured for the next 6, 9 or maybe 12 months. And so it was a wee bit of a patched up Celtic team. Forrest starting on the right, Maida starting out on the left, and Ida through the middle, and Ralston in at right back. And I think Celtic certainly missed Alistair Johnston's ability to get up and down the right side. In the first half, Ralston never managed to do any kind of overlaps, and I think the understanding that Kuhn, Maida have with Johnston and the midfielders on that side was really missed, particularly in that first half. Ralston did do a wee bit of overlapping in the second half, but I think Celtic really missed Alistair Johnston's ability to supplement the attack down the right-hand side, and I think also Forrest looking a wee bit ring rusty, fitting into the current way that Celtic are playing. However, all around, pretty good performance, and I'm happy enough with the 1-1 draw in the end, and we stay 17 points clear, with the games against Hibs, Aberdeen, St Mirren still to come in the league, and then the Scottish Cup final against Aberdeen 19 days from now. Looking at the stats, I think it shows Celtic were the better side, much more quality, much more attacking ability, and was up for a couple of blocks and saves and errant finishes, and failing that last pass and cross, I think Celtic would have come out the game with a win. However, looking at the stats, possession was 40% to Rangers, 60 for Celtic. Shots were 13-7 in favour of Rangers. However, they didn't have the same quality of shots. On targets were 4-3 for Rangers. Celtic had 3 shots blocked to the 2 by Rangers, 2 saves for Liam Kelly and 3 saves for Viliame Sinasalo. And Rangers had 7 off targets and Celtic just 1 off target. More importantly, touches in the box were just 20 for Rangers, but 31 for Celtic, and corners was 6-5 in favour of Celtic. So I think what it kind of does show is Celtic did have much more of the attacking threat, a lot more of the possession, and just that final pass, final shot, final cross wasn't quite on the money for Celtic yesterday. Looking at my own match ratings for the players, starting with Viliame Sinasalo, I've given 7 out of 10. Don't think he had terribly much chance with the actual Rangers goal. Was a wee bit disappointed that he let Raskin header in. I think he could probably have made a better save on that one. However, happily that was disallowed for offside. A couple of nice wee other saves in the first half particularly. Second half he was mostly being attacked by Rangers fans, throwing lighters and vapes and bottles and cups at him, which was rather awful. Happily, Rangers and the police are taking this very seriously, it would appear, and are searching down who were the guilty parties of bottles and lighters and vapes, and hopefully also that disgusting banner that was unfortunately shown briefly on Sky Sports as they put up the team lineups. It did actually spoil the game, spoil the atmosphere, and it was a very disappointing thing. Moving back to the ratings, the Ralston 6.5 and Greg Taylor 6. I think they both did a fine job pretty much defensively. They weren't really much of a threat moving into midfield or into the final third. Taylor was guilty a couple of times of mistakes, and I do worry with his lack of pace and lack of height, as Rangers were exploiting that side much more often. Happily, after Rangers surprisingly took off Czerny, they were less of a threat down either side. In terms of central defenders, given Liam's scales 4 out of 10, I thought he was absolutely awful yesterday. A lot of errors, kept him falling over. Very rarely did he ever stop Dezers. Very rarely did he ever win a challenge with Dezers or Igamani. He was completely at fault for the goal that Celtic gave away. Quite how he allowed Dezers to get hold of the ball, outmuscle him and turn him and get the shot on goal. It was absolutely awful defending. And it was a good job that Cameron Carter-Vickers gave a man of the match performance, giving Carter-Vickers 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was an excellent defensive performance. Multiple times he came in behind to cover for Scales' errors, mopped up many attacks that Rangers should never have been able to get down going through Scales. And a couple of times he did look a bit of a threat coming forward and in the opposition box. So 8.5 out of 10 for Cameron Carter-Vickers. 8 for Callum McGregor. I thought he had a good game as well. Pretty much got control of midfield. Certainly was giving better than 50-50 in midfield. Some nice passes. Managed to rile up the Rangers midfielders, Diamandi and Raskin especially. And I thought it was a good performance by Callum McGregor, so 8 out of 10. Very disappointed with Arne Engels' performance. It was almost as if he wasn't on the pitch for the time that he was there. Very few good passes, very little breaking up the play. And so just 6 out of 10 for Arne Engels. Rio Hatate, I thought was a bit better. Give them a 7 out of 10. Some nice passes, and he did hit a couple of beautiful passes. One that really should have set up Ida just at the end of the first half to put us 1-0 up. And his wonderful hooked pass out to Dyson Maida in the 7th minute of added time could easily have given us the win if either Maida had kept control of the ball better or seen Johnny Kenny on his inside. So 7 out of 10 for Rio Hatate. 6.5 for both Dyson Maida and James Forrest. I think they both tried very hard. Dyson Maida nearly scored in the last minute of time. James Forrest, a couple of nice crosses that didn't quite find someone in the middle of the box to take it. I did think Dyson Maida looked rather tired. It would appear that he was back home in Japan as his wife is about to have their third baby and had only flown back to Scotland on the Friday for training on Friday and Saturday. And did think he looked a wee bit jet lagged, a wee bit tired. And of course, I would expect he'll be off back to Japan again, having been to the Player of the Year award for Celtic and then the Players' Player of the Year award later on Sunday. So 6.5 for him. Given that Adam Idah 7 scored a goal, should maybe have scored a goal in the first half as well. Looked nice and busy up front. Gave Celtic a good out ball, and I thought he led the line well. But to say, was a bit disappointed with a couple of his finishes, particularly that one at the end of the first half. But happily did score the vital goal. In terms of the subs, didn't think any of the subs really lit things up particularly or really changed the match, given both Paulo Bernardo and Hai Yung Yang 6. They both tried hard, but not terribly much in the midfield or the final third that was creative or attacking. And I've given both Jeffrey Sloop and Johnny Kenny 6.5 out of 10. Thought Sloop was much better than Taylor over the course of the time that Sloop was on the pitch. Seemed to be able to get into midfield and into the final third much better than Taylor had done. He was basically strong in defence. And Johnny Kenny, I think, had a good 10-15 minutes at the end of the game. Showed quite a lot of passion and aggression. And as I said, a wee bit of better vision by Dyson Maida, and Johnny Kenny could have had a dream Celtic Rangers game by scoring a goal in the 7th minute of added time. Now, finally, yesterday was the Players' Player of the Year award for the Scottish Professional Football Association. Dyson Maida won Player of the Year, not too unexpectedly, but Arnie Engels lost out to Lennon Miller of Motherwell in the Young Player of the Year. And there also were a number of Celtic FC awards, our own Player of the Year ceremony. The Academy Player of the Year was Kyle Ewer. The Young Player of the Year for Celtic was Arnie Engels. Don't think there was terribly many other players really in the running for that award, as Arnie Engels is pretty much the only really young player who's managed to play on a regular basis in the first team. In terms of the men's goal of the year, that went to Cameron Carter-Vickers, his wonderful long-range shot against Kilmarnock. The men's player of the year, by the men's players player of the year, was Dyson Maida, who also won the fans player of the year, and he also won the award for the men's team's goal scorer as well. So, great day in terms of awards for Dyson Maida, with 3 at the Celtic Player of the Year awards and 1 with the Scottish Professional Footballers Association Player of the Year. No other major news cropping up so far on Monday. As I say, there are some stories going around regarding Rangers and the police's efforts to look into the multiple events of bad behaviour by the Rangers fans yesterday. Hopefully, as I say, the Rangers stewards, the Rangers fans, the CCTV, etc., will find the culprits of all those offences and get them banned from football. And also a lot of indications that Cameron Carter-Vickers will be out for a couple of weeks as a precautionary type of thing. Sounds like he's going to require some form of injection for a grumbling, mild hamstring problem. And I think the intention is to have Alistair Johnston, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Kasper Schmeichel all fit and fresh for the cup final, maybe also bringing 2 or 3 of them back for the St Mirren game at the end of the season. Also, suspect that we might see players such as Arnie Engels, Rio Hatate and Cal McGregor starting on the bench or playing 45-60 minutes, trying to give Paolo Bernardo and Luke McCowan more time in midfield. Similarly, probably getting James Forrest and Yang more game time to rest Ida and Maida up front, keeping them fresh for the final, with probably 2 out of 3 of Trusty, Scales and Navrocki in central defence. And I think Greg Taylor will carry on playing as the number 1 left back. So that just about finishes things off for today's video. As we finish, just a wee polite suggestion, encouragement, if you could, to click the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. Please do share the channel with other football fans and Celtic fans. Keep those subscriber numbers going up and up. And finally, do feel free to pop your own pleasant, polite, respectful opinions, thoughts, comments into the comment section regarding the performance, the tactics, the formation, and any other wee Celtic thoughts as we near the end of the league season. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.